Stop by, Lord, stop by. Stop by, Lord, stop by. Somebody needs a touch from you, Lord. Stop by, Lord, stop by. Stop by, Lord, stop by. Stop by, Lord, stop by. Somebody needs a touch from you, Lord. Stop by, Lord, stop by. Stop by, Lord, stop by. Stop by, Lord, stop by. If today you hear God's voice, what's the rest of it? Do we do that? What does God say? Some examples. What does God's voice say to you, church, choir? Just some examples. I love you. Do we harden our hearts to that sometimes? This section. What does God say to you sometimes? People are looking at me so lovingly, I love it. The longer you look at me, the longer the homily gets. So we do this together. What does God say to you sometimes? It's going to be okay. Do we believe that? Here. What does God say in the back? Your job's not done. And you're doing well. You're doing well, your job's not done. That's even more pressure. Okay, this section here. What does God say to you sometimes? Patience. You need to go. Patience. You need to go pray. Don't do it. Now, I'll bet you that one we hardened our hearts on, right? God says, don't do it. And we say, I'm going to do it. Don't do it. I have to do it. Don't do it. Please don't do it. I can't help myself. That was good. Yes, please. I'm there with you always, so don't do it. Thank you. Here. I forgive you. How about that one? I forgive you. A little hang time for that one. Have no fear, I'm with you. Friends, today's readings are beautiful readings. They're all about faith. I feel really inspired, but I'm going to try to stop myself because we have a ministry fair. You have things to do today, so I'm going to try to stop myself. I'm going to try. These readings are all about faith. That first reading that might seem so obscure is from a minor prophet, Habakkuk. And that minor prophet was one of the first prophets in the Old Testament that actually kind of tested, or rather questioned, God's ways and God's demands. And so we hear in this reading him saying, God, how long? Your ways are hard. This is breaking my back. He was the first prophet to let us know it is okay to question and to complain. If we can't question and complain reasonably in our relationships, they do not grow, right? How can you have a relationship with someone that you don't feel is listening, that's close to you? But then what do we hear God saying? Hold on. I made a promise. Hold on. What do we hear in that second reading? I love the beginning of it. You have faith, but you have to stir it. Stir what you have received in your baptism, that it can fill you. That's my question. Do you ever stir your faith? Just imagine, if you never stirred your chocolate milk, kind of nasty, huh? For those people who have adult beverages, if you don't stir them, there could be problems, can't there? Life is full of ingredients. And our job, friends, is we have to stir it. And that's the work of faith. Faith is beautiful in the mind, in the heart, in concept, but we have to stir it. And how do we stir it? That's called discipleship. Every day of our life, when life pushes back on us, that's an opportunity to stir our faith. When God is saying, don't do it, I'm saying, Lord, I'm just praying for direction. And God is saying, don't do it. If we don't stir that, what happens? We do it again and again and again. Discipleship is about stirring our faith. And that is difficult sometimes in a world that pushes back globally. But sometimes the world does push back globally. There are major problems. But sometimes in our life, our problems are closer to us. And sometimes those problems that are closer to us can become greater distractions. It is great to be focused on larger things. But if you and I forget the smaller things, we have no energy for the larger things. That's stirring our faith. And I'm with you. Sometimes we don't want to because it feels like it's too much. It takes too much energy. We might have to move. I don't know about you, but sometimes on Sunday nights, I'm just so tired, and I get home and I get in that chair, and I don't want to move until Tuesday morning. But sometimes life calls us to move. It calls us to stir, and we have to ask for the courage and faith to do that. My last point, in the gospel today, what did the disciples ask for? Lord, increase our faith. Now, friends, we have to be very, very careful when we pray that prayer. It sounds real nice, doesn't it? I want to be more faithful, more loving, more disciplined, more orthodox, less orthodox, medium orthodox, whatever it is. We have to be careful because God hears our prayers. And God says if we're going to be truly orthodox in our faith, it's the whole faith, everything. If we're going to be people of social action in our faith, it's everything, not just the things that we are comfortable with in faith. This is what stirring our faith means. And that's why he uses that very cryptic story about the person. It sounds kind of mean. The poor servant is out working all day long. And wouldn't it be nice to say to your servant who's been working all day long, not prepare my supper, but come eat with me? Jesus sounds kind of mean in that story, but he's making a point. He's saying people who truly know how to serve don't get their knickers all up there, when they're asked to do something. It's my job. It's my job. No one is oppressing me to do my job of loving. I just need to stir. I just need to stir. He says the master is grateful for the servant who simply says, of course, it's my job to make you feel better. That's what we all signed up for, folks. Church is not a club. It's a way of life. It becomes a club if we don't stir it. If we don't get involved, if we only stick to the borders where we're comfortable, it becomes a club, and it is not effective. And our own Pope says what? House of cards, baby. Christ founded our church on love. And love means we have to stir. We have to stir in the morning, in the night, late at night, in the noontime. We have to stir. And when we get tired of stirring, we have to ask each other for help. That's what it means to be church. Let's not be afraid to stir.